안녕하십니까?
Hello everyone.
2021년도 서울 국제
Welcome
주얼리
to
컨퍼런스에 오신 것
2021 Seoul
감사드립니다.
International Jewelry Conference. Thank you for participation.
문성혜입니다.
My name is Song Hae-moon, the conductor of today's conference. This conference is hosted and sponsored by Seoul Jewelry Industry Support Center. We have started this kind of conference in 2017. Each year, we invite experts in other countries, and they speak about the manufacturing of the diamond and color gemstones, and their distribution, origin determination, gem identification technology, thereby providing key information to the domestic industry. Due to the prolonged pandemic, we have no other option but to hold this conference through the form of webinar, as we did last year. We welcome again one of you who are with us online. Moreover, a lot of friends from other countries are also participating in this webinar, and the translation is being provided for them. After the seminar is over, please stay online a little more, and you can fill out the questionnaires. Your opinions will be highly appreciated and will be used to advance this kind of international conferences. We have a small gift for those who participate. Let me briefly introduce today's program. We have 3 different sessions, and the whole conference will last about 2.5 hours. And the first session is given by David Block of the Serene Technology Group. He will talk about how technology is shaping the diamond industry of tomorrow. And the second session topic will be given by Michael Zamnicki of Swiss Gemological Institute. He will talk about the beauty of science. Lastly, the title is Laboratory-Grown Diamonds Market in Korea, which will be given by Mr. Hyun Sung-on of Wargok Jewelry Research Center. We really look forward to hearing from these 3 experts. And after each session, we have a question and answer session. If you want, you can leave any questions on the YouTube live chat, and we will select a few of them and have a discussion about those questions with the speakers.
그리고 각 강의의 약간의 휴식이 있으나 로그인 상태를 계속 유지해
Please
주시기
stay
바랍니다.
online after each session once again.
서울 주얼리 센터와 서울
We
주얼리
appreciate the sponsorship of Seoul Jewelry Industry Support Center and Korea Jewelry Industry Promotion Foundation. And there are many other organizations who gave us much support.
오늘 첫
We
번째
extend our thank you for them.
세미나로
Let us begin
들어가겠습니다.
the first session.
먼저 첫 번째 연사이신 데이비드
Let's pay our
블락에 대해서
attention to the first
간단한
speaker.
소개를 해드리겠습니다.
Let me briefly introduce him.
다이아몬드 보석 및 보석 산업 분야에서 세계 최고의 기술 회사의
He is the
하나인
CEO of the Serene Technology Group, one of the world's leading technology companies for the diamonds, gemstones, and jewelry industries. Over the last 20 years in Serene, David has played an instrumental role in the initiation, development, and introduction of many of the revolutionary innovations the group has brought to the diamond industry. Under his guidance, Serene's diamond planning system has become a de facto standard for the diamond manufacturing, and for the last few years, he has been spearheading Serene's introduction of innovative technologies to the wholesale and retail trade of the polished diamonds. Among these advances are artificial intelligence-driven polished diamond grading, diamond traceability, light performance analysis, as well as other digital solutions to enable today's diamond retailers to better interact with their customers. He holds MBA from Kellogg Lakanati School of Business and a bachelor's degree in the computer science from Tel Aviv Jaffa Academic College in Israel.
그럼 여러분들 그 블락 사장님의
Okay, now let's pay our attention to him.
바랍니다. David, you are on. Floor is yours. We cannot hear you.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and participate digitally at the Seoul International Jewelry Conference for 2021. I hope that maybe next year we'll be able to visit physically as due to today's limitations. I'd like to give a word of thanks to the Seoul Jewelry Industry Support Center for inviting me to speak today, and I hope you'll enjoy my presentation. So let's jump right in. I'll just share my presentation, one moment. So we are going to be talking about in the presentation about technology and how technology actually will shape the diamond industry of tomorrow. Before I start, maybe a few words about Serene, who Serene is. We are a global technology company that develops, researches and develops technology for the diamond, gemstone and jewelry industry, with the main focus on diamonds. We are an Israeli company headquartered in Israel, where we do all our research and development. And we have a number of subsidiaries globally, in India, in the US in New York, which takes care of the Americas, in Hong Kong, which is our hub for Asia. And then we have a wide range of distribution channels globally in over 40 countries, including, of course, Korea. Although we are talking about how technology will change the diamond industry tomorrow, actually technology has been revolutionizing the diamond industry for the past 3 decades. And Serene has been introducing over the past 3 decades a number of different revolutions, technological revolutions that have really changed the face of the diamond industry. For the first 25 years, the main focus was on diamond manufacturing. How to take a rough diamond and transform it into a beautiful polished diamond sold to the consumer. And that is where a large majority of the technological development from Serene was focused. And as you can see in the slide, over the years, multiple different technologies were developed in order to optimize how rough diamonds are manufactured. Over the past 5 or so years, we've been focusing very much on the retail side, how technology can contribute and add value to the further downstream part of the diamond pipeline as the polished diamond is sold through wholesale, retail, and then to the consumer. As I mentioned, we are a technology company investing over the last decade close to $150 million in research and development in order to create added value for the diamond pipeline. And just to give you some idea of the scope of the use of technology in the diamond pipeline today, about 100 million diamonds pass through Serene's technologies every year. To give an idea of that scale, you have every year approximately only 1 million polished diamonds above 1 carat, whereas the large majority of polished diamonds are below 1 carat. And as I said, throughout different technologies, through the different stages of the diamond pipeline, around about 100 million diamonds go through our technologies each year. Our technologies span the entire pipeline, from the mines, through the manufacturing, down to, and all the way down to the retail today. We'll be focusing this presentation on how technology can add value to the retail part of the diamond pipeline, which, as I said, is fairly new in the last 5 years we've been developing. We have a very wide range of different technologies that are involved in many different stages of the diamond pipeline, from, as I said, the mine through the manufacturing down to the retailer. I think one of the most interesting things that we can look in the past 2 years is how the situation with COVID-19 has actually dramatically accelerated the use of technology in the diamond industry. Whether it be at the producers, the diamond mines that have started to shift to selling of rough diamonds to their clients through digital technologies. Of course, the expansion of the use of technologies in the midstream, the manufacturers, and then of course all the way down to the retailer, and how the retailer today is becoming more aware and understanding that technology is an integral part of how they should operate in today's world. So we can see that there is a dramatic increase in the use of technology, and despite the many challenges that COVID-19 has presented to us in the past 2 years, there are many advantages that we can see are coming from the situation where we were forced to interact digitally. I think the best example is this webinar today, whereas a few years ago, no one would have thought of doing a webinar, a conference, an international conference digitally through Zoom. And today that is more or less the norm. And I believe that as we look forward into the upcoming years, we'll continue to see an expanded and accelerated use of technology in all segments of the diamond pipeline, from the mines all the way down to the consumer. As you can see on the slide here, it's an image actually from one of the last video stores in Korea that shut down in 2012, nearly 10 years ago. Once upon a time when we wanted to watch video content, we went to a video store. We rented a movie, took it back home, put it in our VHS or Beta video machine and watched the movie. Whereas today, Netflix is basically the tool we use. And with many technological revolutions, the actual need has not really changed. It's the way that the need is served. So if we look at today at the biggest technological companies in the world, whether it be Facebook or Google, they're basically advertising companies, changing the way content is served rather than through newspapers and television advertisements. It's through digital forms that are very much more focused and very much more targeted. The same goes for Netflix. We're watching the same movies that we watched 20 years ago. Just the way we watch the movies, the way that we use the content is very much more different. And sometimes these so-called very small changes actually make a huge difference and revolutionize the different industries that they're used in. We see that the same trend is happening in the diamond industry. And I believe that the way different processes that maybe today look very maybe impossible to change will dramatically change in the future due to technology. With the introduction of large amounts of data and the ability to analyze this data using artificial intelligence, I believe that we will start seeing or continue to see dramatic changes in the diamond industry utilizing these advanced technologies. And this is one of the main focuses of Serene, is how to utilize the large amounts of data that are available today. As I mentioned, over 100 million diamonds pass through our different technologies, how to utilize that data and advanced processing of that data in order to create value at different stages of the pipeline. And I'll be talking about a number of different areas during the presentation. The first one I'd like to maybe focus on is diamond grading. Diamond grading has been around for many, many years, tens of years. Diamond grading has been done manually, utilizing people that have been trained in order to grade the diamonds, the color, the clarity, cut and carat weight, the 4 C's, as well as additional parameters. But today we are starting to see a dramatic shift towards digital grading, grading using technology. And the advantages of utilizing technology in order to do grading are dramatic. They are not just shifting from a manual process to an automated process, very similar to the way that Netflix did not just add value by creating a digital ability to use content. Before I maybe jump into it, I'd like to show a short movie regarding automated AI-based grading. If we can play the first movie, thank you very much. Could we play the first movie? Thank you.
We live in an age where change is happening faster than anyone could have imagined. More amazing is how fast the new is becoming the new normal. Artificial intelligence is making our life better, safer, and more efficient. In the world of diamonds, Serene was the first company to bring AI to 4C's grading, providing unprecedented consistency and giving consumers absolute confidence in their diamond. But the truth is, we're only just warming up.
As we begin the new decade, Serene is about to change diamond grading beyond recognition. With an approach that marries AI, machine learning, and big data to deliver E-grading. E-grading will empower diamond retailers with exciting new possibilities like never before. Bringing the precise diamonds you need exactly when you need them. Expanding diamond evaluation possibilities far beyond the 4Cs. Reducing costs. Streamlining diamond sourcing. Accelerating time to market. Supporting true personalization. A fascinating new era of E-grading is on its way. We'll meet you there.
This is the diamond industry reimagined.
So basically over the past several years, grading using technology has been developed in order to transform the manual process, which is prone to inconsistencies, to a fully automated process, whether it be color grading, clarity grading, and of course cut grade, which has already existed for the past 2 decades using technology to grade cut. The two final frontiers of color and clarity are now possible to grade using technology by analyzing large amounts of data and then enabling artificial intelligence based systems to grade the diamonds automatically. Naturally, just like with any new technologies, there's still a long way to go being able to cover different types of diamonds, whether it be fancy colors or other segments of diamonds that may be very particular. But the ability today to grade the 4Cs fully with technology is already here. But it goes a lot beyond just the regular 4Cs. When we talk about grading, there are many parameters that today are important to the diamond retailer or to the consumer that are not necessarily covered in the typical or traditional diamond grading of the 4Cs. Whether it be personal preferences like tinges of color, whether it be certain types of inclusions, cracks, black spots, and so onwards, that certain consumers or certain retail brands would prefer not having within their goods. So the ability to fine-tune, the ability to understand what type of goods are being purchased is possible today with technology. And if, again, maybe I compare that with the traditional videos moving to digital videos with Netflix. When you used to want to understand a category of movies, it used to be action movies or horror movies or drama. But today, the ability to fine-tune what kind of movie you want to look. If you look in Netflix, it's graded according to the percentage of probability that you will like the movie, because there are many other parameters that are taken into consideration. And this is all possible by using big data, by analyzing the data, and then be able to provide you with the type of movie you want. The same becomes possible with diamonds, connecting very much more effectively between what diamonds type of certain consumer segment wants, whether it be in Japan or Korea or the US, which are looking for different types of diamonds, different qualities, different preferences. So the ability to grade diamonds using technology opens up a very much wider range of possibilities than possible doing manual grading. Naturally, one of the biggest advantages of automated grading is the ability to provide very consistent and very accurate grading. No longer are parameters like fatigue or the mood of the grader or the culture impacting how the grading is done. Technology is very consistent. It's not impacted by any environmental parameters or any human factors, and therefore you're able to achieve a very much higher level of accuracy and repeatability. With today's consumer who trusts technology, we believe that this is the new trust in tomorrow's world. It's the trust of technology rather than manual processes, which, as I mentioned, are prone to error. We go along beyond just diamond grading. As I mentioned, many different parameters of the polished diamond can be graded through technology, not just the typical 4 Cs. The ability to grade other parameters such as beauty or what would call light performance become possible with technology. Imaging of the polished diamond with very high levels of accuracy to provide the consumer information about that polished diamond all become possible with technology. In fact, one of the leading retail brands in Korea, Golden Dew, utilize the technology in order to present the beauty of their diamonds, the light performance of their diamonds in the retail store itself through digital technology that they can present to the consumer. When we talk about technology, sometimes we get stuck with just information, with data. But we believe that a very important part of today's technology is how to deliver an experience to the consumer rather than just information. Therefore, the importance of taking data and presenting it in a way that creates an experience in the store is a very important part of the revolution of technology in today's world. We'll see a little bit later on in the presentation how you can utilize different types of data within the sales process in the store to create that in-store experience that not only provides information, but provides, as I said, an experience within the store. I'd like to talk about a number of different trends at the consumer level and at the retail level that are very relevant for today's consumer. A lot of talk, of course, about millennials and the new younger generation. Naturally, we cannot not talk about the digital experience with the younger generation. Today, the sales process actually starts at home on the cell phone, whether it be or the tablet or the computer. That the consumer starts doing his homework on what product he wants to buy, where he wants to buy it, and the whole sales process actually starts at home through digital tools that the consumer checks information about the product he wants to buy. But it's not enough just to remain with the experience that starts at home. It's very important that this digital experience continues into the store to connect between the initial part of the process that starts at home with the process in the digital store, and therefore enabling digital information for your consumer becomes not nice to have, but a critical part of the sales process. Naturally, we talked about information. Today's consumer is looking for very high levels of information, of trustworthy information, to be able to really know what he's buying, regardless of the product, whether it be a diamond or even a pair of shoes or an electronic device. So understanding what the consumer is buying becomes very important. So providing transparent, trustworthy information about the product today, again, is a mandatory part of selling any product in today's world. So the ability to provide this information in a transparent way to the consumer is definitely a trend we're seeing expanding more and more within the general retail, as well as, of course, in the diamond industry. And being able to present this information in a very consumer-orientated way to today's younger consumer. The last trend, again, which for those of you who may have heard the webinar from De Beers yesterday, the Insight Report, there is a very significant growing trend of sustainability in general in today's world, and the diamond industry is no different. The ability to understand where your diamond or diamond jewelry comes from, how it was manufactured, under what conditions, and how it contributed to the communities, how it impacted the environment, is becoming an integral part of the product. Therefore, one of the capabilities that technology can assist with is the ability to track the diamond from the mine through the manufacturing process and all the way down to the consumer. In fact, from the Insight Report yesterday it was published, we can see that nearly 70% of today's customers or consumers are looking for products that contribute to society and are actually willing to pay more, anywhere between 10 to 20% more for products that are sustainable, that contribute to their communities and the environment. And we see this trend growing, of course, not only in the diamond industry, but as well as in the most other industries as well. We have just introduced a year or two ago the Diamond Journey, which is a technological capability of tracking the diamond through data, verifiable data, from the mine all the way through down to the consumer. One of the aspects of traceability is the ability not only to provide information, as I mentioned earlier, but to tell a story, to be able to show how that diamond actually transformed from a rough diamond that was mined, for example, in Botswana, into a beautiful polished diamond, and the whole process along the way, being able to visualize that and show that and present that to the consumer. Therefore, utilizing the data that is collected throughout the manufacturing process, we're able to present in a very visual, appealing way to the consumer how that diamond was manufactured, where the diamond came from, and visualize that to the consumer in a way that he can connect to. As you can see here in the slide, there are ability to provide digital information, as well as even printing out a physical replica of the rough diamond to show the consumer how his rough diamond actually looked like, as well as providing information about the communities and how the diamond mining contributed to those communities, how the environment was protected, how diamond manufacturers, again, are becoming more and more sustainable, whether it becoming carbon neutral, how they take care again of their employees, and so on and so forth. So I believe that sustainability is becoming an integral part of the diamond industry, and the ability to track diamonds from the source to the consumer will become the standard of tomorrow, just as 4Cs is today a standard of how to price and how to sell polished diamonds. A few just before I show a few examples, real-life examples, use cases from some of the retail stores globally of how traceability is used in the store, I'd like to show a short movie about diamond traceability. If you could play the second movie, thank you.
Every joy, every trial, every love, every laugh, every rise, every fall. Just like a person, every diamond has a unique story waiting to be told. With Serene Diamond Journey, you can now chart the unique story of your diamond from its source all the way to becoming a beautiful, sparkling gem. stripping of its interior and exterior birthmarks, to revealing its latent beauty, to creating its ultimate shape. Everything is preserved. Nothing is forgotten, providing unquestionable proof of diamond provenance and the ultimate in scientifically proven traceability. So now you can know your diamond as well as you know yourself. Serene Diamond Journey. Are you ready to discover yours?
So going back to just show a few use cases in the stores, we'll take a number of examples just quickly. By the way, the presentation is available for all the viewers that you can look afterwards. Here we can actually see one of our client in a retail store in Japan that sells their diamonds loose and then enables the client to set them in a jewelry piece of their choice. So the client will then choose a polished diamond. But as we know, if you look at a polished diamond, let's say of a half a carat G VS1 quality, and another polished diamond of the same size, color, and clarity, they look very similar. Whereas the rough diamond of these two polished diamonds can be very, very different. Every rough diamond is unique. And what this retailer has done is actually taken the actual rough diamond. We have recreated the replica of the actual rough diamond that this polished diamond was actually polished from. And the consumer can actually see the rough diamond. If they scan the QR, they can see the entire journey from rough to polish and the story of the manufacturing. And basically this is used as part of the sales process in the store. And so engaging the consumer with the journey of the diamond as it traveled from the mine all the way down to the consumer, and enabling the consumer to experience this journey. So this is an example from Japan. We work with with all the players in the pipeline, from the mines through the manufacturers and all the way down to the retail. So many different partners that you're able to source diamonds from with the diamond journey. Another example from Japan, using traceability of the diamond journey, a special design called the Sakura, which is the blossoming in the summer, and utilizing again digitally information of that diamond journey as it travels from the mine to the consumer. Another example of how it's used in Australia, providing again a replica of the rough diamond in a very nice set, showing that diamond journey. I think one of the, just to summarize maybe, so we can have a little bit of time for some questions, and three main trends which I think should be focused on at the retail level with regards to technology. One is becoming digital, the ability to shift the focus and the engagement with the consumer digitally. This does not mean selling only online. It means, how do you engage your client from the moment he starts looking for the product online? How do you draw them to the store through digital means? And how do you continue that digital experience in the store itself? So the shift to digital is something that is here. It's only accelerating, and it should be embraced. It does not mean moving to sell online predominantly or only, but how do you combine the digital world and the physical world together? The second trend, as we talked about, was sustainability. And in the diamond industry, that means being able to understand where the diamond comes from, how it was manufactured, and the story of the diamond from the mine to the consumer, the diamond journey. And the last trend that we discussed was the shift from manual grading to digital grading, what we call e-grading, which we believe that in a number of years, just like video stores disappeared, and the last video store that existed in Korea was 2012, we believe that diamond grading will shift to technological means therefore eliminating the need for physical grading labs and shifting that ability to grade diamonds much closer to the client. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to take them now.
Thank you, Mr. Block, for your presentation on the new technology of the diamond industry. I think there are so many new technologies that we should catch up with. Still, I think I am on a video generation. So anyway, I have some questions from the audience. Okay, it's about e-grading. Can you hear me, David? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, it's a e-grading, meaning are you giving e-report only, not the paper report?
Okay, that's actually a good question. We believe that the consumer today is shifting to only digital. There are, of course, sustainability aspects to that of not using paper, but today's consumer today is basically connected 24/7 to his digital phone or iPad. So we believe very much in digital, but we of course do have the old-fashioned paper reports. So that is of course available, but we do believe very strongly in digital. And for those clients who still want paper reports, we of course do provide them. But we see the switch to digital only by many of our clients that are shifting to digital reports only rather than paper reports.
With this, the question is e-grading for, you mean doing all the 4 C's, for what size of diamonds? Is it there's any limit? And is there any limit on the shapes also?
So as with any technology, the technology starts with, I would say, the main stream diamonds, larger sizes, typical shapes, but there is no technological limitation to the technology. The adoption of the technology, as with any new technology in the diamond industry, generally starts with the more typical and common types of diamonds and then shifts to the more extremes, so smaller diamonds, irregular shapes, but technologically wise, there is no limitation to technology. And we believe that actually technology will enable to grade cheaper and smaller diamonds cost effectively as the technology evolves and develops, becomes more cost effective and faster.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Another question is about this e-grading. Is done at your lab only, or is it really is this kind of instrument is available for average wholesalers or retailers?
So the idea of the technology, just like as I mentioned with Netflix, is to move the technology to the client. Not having grading labs that need to send the goods. Sending diamonds to a grading lab takes time, it's expensive, you've cost of insurance, the cost of money during the time that the diamond is shipped to the grading lab. So there are many very significant overheads of shipping a diamond to a grading lab. And our objective is to move the technology to the manufacturer, to the wholesaler, so that they will be able to do it in-house on one hand, but being able to do it without influencing or affecting the grading process. So the way it works is that the technology is located at the client. The information, the diamond is scanned, the information goes up to the Serene cloud. We analyze the data and grade the diamond and then send back the grading to the client. So yes, the objective is that diamonds will be graded what we call at the source, as close to the source as possible. That will improve cycle times for the industry, enable much quicker time to market and sourcing of diamonds. There are many, many advantages that what e-grading will provide. We have been testing for the past 3 years the technology in our grading labs. We have grading labs in India and Israel that we utilize the technology. But as of the end of this year and beginning of next year, we are starting to introduce the technology to clients in the field. So it's a suite of technologies that enable grading of the different parameters that make up the 4 Cs and beyond that 4 Cs.
Yes, this is a very simple question. How long does it take to do the E-grading for 1 carat round?
So there is not really any significant difference in terms of the time it takes to grade a 1 carat or a half carat or a 5 carat diamond. The time it takes is very short. I think the alternative is sending it to a grading lab. And that's the comparison of the time. Today, due to the scale up after COVID, grading can take anywhere between 4 weeks to 6 weeks or even 8 weeks. Whereas once you have technology in-house, if you want to grade a diamond tomorrow, it's possible to do it for tomorrow. So that's why I said cycle times will be reduced significantly. In that way, you can reduce inventories, not have to hold large quantities of inventories, reduce the amount of dead inventory that is not suitable, rejections. So for example, when retailers buy polished diamonds, many times they send a certain percentage back to their supplier because they do not meet the retailer's criteria, even though they meet the 4 Cs criteria. So the ability to reduce rejections is also one of the big advantages of utilizing e-grading.
That's great. Thank you. Another question? Oh, it's about diamonds journey and the traceability question.
Yeah.
I mean, the diamond origin report questions, it's been around for a while. And how can you, you said scientifically prove the origin or the mine of the diamonds, but as you know, De Beers do not give them specific mines.
So naturally, yeah, a very good question. Naturally, the mines are an integral part of diamond traceability. And of course, in order to provide origin, there is a need for participation of the mines in diamond traceability. We work together with many of the mines globally, and we believe that as traceability becomes more of a mandatory or not necessarily mandatory, but a standard that is expected by the consumer and by the retailer, that all or most mines will engage in traceability programs. So we're not yet there that all mines engage with traceability programs, but I think we're well on our way. And at Serene, we work with many of the diamond mines globally in order to start the process at the mine. You mentioned that De Beers does not mention the mine, but just a number of countries of origin. That's correct. To be honest, I'm not sure that the consumer needs to know the specific country. Again, that's a question that I think many of the retailers ask themselves. Do we really want to share the country of origin, or is it more important that the origin of the diamond comes from a sustainable source that you are able to track and able to know where it comes from, rather than knowing that it came from Botswana or Russia or Canada? So I think that's a good question, but I believe that the consumer and the retailer still hasn't really answered, do we really need the actual specific origin? But in order to do so, of course, the participation of the mines is crucial.
Yes, I mean, some consumers want to know specific answers and some do not care. That's what's going on these days. As you know, a lot of products are like made in, so-and-so countries and so forth.
I believe that if the consumer will want to know the origin of the diamonds in terms of country or even mine, that the industry will enable that to happen. So I think it's a matter of what the consumer wants, and if the consumer wants that, I believe he will receive it eventually.
Yes. Another question is about this traceability. Is it white diamonds only, or is it available for the fancy color diamonds? Because your presentation is only white.
It's available. Traceability is relevant for all types of diamonds. There is no limitation in terms of the ability to do traceability on fancy colors. Of course, fancy colors, due to their rarity and the fact that they are very much more expensive, traceability becomes very important. We didn't talk about it in today's seminar, but we also have a lot of different developments on fingerprinting of diamonds, so you are able to track the polished diamond once it is fully polished and be able to provide a unique ID for a polished diamond. And naturally, for fancy colors, that is, of course, possible through the technology as well.
Yes, you said some retailers in Japan showing this diamond traceability report, right? Your report.
Yeah, Japan, Australia, Europe, US, Singapore, many countries already, retailers in different countries are already adopting traceability. And I think, as I mentioned in the Insight report yesterday from De Beers, we see the importance of sustainability aspects ranking very high globally in consumer preference. And as I said, are willing to pay more for diamonds that are traceable.
That's something very recent development. Okay, great.
Yeah, I recommend that anyone who hasn't read the Insight report take a good read. It has very valuable and important information.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, David, and thank you for joining us. Early hours from your area, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's morning over here.
Yes, and then hope to see you, and then in person in the near future. Thank you, Mr. Block.
Thank you very much.